Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm making this video while I'm repairing the Dana 60 in my truck. I'm waiting for parts. They're coming. So I wanted to put this out here right now because this is a topic many people don't cover. And I'm going to talk about electromagnetic pulses. Now, why am I talking about electromagnetic pulses? Because everything that we use every day, for the most part, is electronic. And I'm talking everything from power packs to refrigerators to televisions to my vape to even things like this. An electromagnetic pulse can take these out. Now, traditionally, an electromagnetic pulse was associated with this, a nuclear explosion. Well, again, thanks to technology, they don't need to set off a nuke. They can actually set off an EMP completely silently, and people would not know what was going on whatsoever at all. So why am I bringing this up right now? Well, things like this make me think it might be germane. It might be on point right now. This. Little love letters from places like China that say tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war. China says it's ready to fight the U.S. until the end. Well, that's awesome, because all of our technology has been either stolen or sold to China. So everything that we have, they have. Except they have a larger workforce and a better work ethic than Americans, sadly. And they can deliver an EMP through various methods, but the one that keeps catching my attention is this. Remember that time all these drones were flying all over the place? They were just circling militaries for days, and the Pentagon is stumped and blah, blah, blah. And they told us when they got into office they were going to tell us exactly what the drones were. And then it turns out those drones that were literally terrorizing the entire East Coast for 2 months, those were just nothing to see here, no big deal. Meaning, if you remember, when Trump got into office, he told us that those drones that were literally plaguing the East Coast, Department of Defense had to come in. They brought all sorts of law enforcement in. They brought all sorts of equipment in. And then when Trump got in office, he said, the FAA said they were supposed to be there. No big deal.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
So you heard it. It wasn't the enemy. The FAA knew all about this. It was just no big deal. What it was hobbyists. People like you and I with our DJI drones or our homemade drones were simply incurring over military bases with impunity constantly. The Department of Defense, everybody comes out there, the military, the police, everybody's trying to figure out what these are. As soon as the new administration comes in, they come out and say, the FAA knew all about this the entire time. But here's the catch. That's a lie. And here, this proves it.
Well, remember, drones. I'm not talking about we're behind in the technology and all the technical issues. A lot of people saw them. A lot of people saw them. There were sightings. The Coast Guard saw them. The nuclear plant in my district, professionals saw them. Chiefs of police were in my office the other day, and they asked if I could find out more about it. Originally they said that they didn't know what it was. The Pentagon didn't know what it was. Department of Defense, they knew it was something, nothing to fear. They didn't know where they were going, what they had, but nothing to worry about. Then we were told that it was just backyard drones. We found out that wasn't accurate either. And now recently we've been told it was the FAA, which I don't understand, because if it was the FAA, wouldn't we have communicated? We spent a lot of money getting the Department of Defense out there, getting advanced radar systems out there that could detect if they were doing frequency skipping, spent money with the, different agencies, police officers, the municipal police, chiefs of police. None of them knew what was going on. Can anybody tell me, if it was the FAA, why wasn't there some level of communication? Mr. Daniels, you look like a brave man.
Congressman, I'll jump in. If it was the FAA, we have standards and rules associated with who can be operate in and around the airspace for any type of drones. That means we weren't aware of it, and we remain committed to working with the agency in ensuring that that situational awareness occurs in and around all of our airports.
Yeah, well, that's good and all, and I'm going to yield in a second. Something's up. I don't know. It was either a gross malfunction, dysfunction in communication, horrible, or there's something more to it, one or the other. And I still don't, nobody can give me a good answer. I yield back, Chairman.
So right now, they're still having congressional meetings trying to figure out what these things were. They told you that it's all good, no big deal. But here's the problem. They're still flying all over the East Coast. They're just not being televised on the news anymore. They're simply burying the story. So you need to be careful, because the people that are in charge, no matter what happens, they'll be fine. And guess what? You'll be the last one to know. That's why I'm making this video, because an EMP can be carried in a drone. It wouldn't be huge, but if enough drones all at one time, like we're seeing over the East Coast, hit the country at one time, it could knock us all out and people wouldn't even know it happened. So that's why this video is happening. So what I'm going to show you is ways to protect everything I just showed you, because if an EMP occurs, it's going to be lights out and you're going to have no information going out or coming in, and your car won't work. Any of the appliances in your house won't work. Your electricity won't work. So anything you plan on communicating or surviving with, you're going to want to put into a Faraday bag. Now, what is a Faraday bag? I've talked about these before. OFFGRIDTREK, my buddy Renee that lives up in Canada, makes hands down the best solar panels and solar related accoutrement there possibly is. But he's in Canada, so the tariffs affect him as well. So right now he's doing 20% off on all the solar cables, all the Faraday bags, and all the solar blankets. That's a big one. I carry one of these in my truck, and I have solar on top of my truck, okay? These things are massive, and I'm going to give you a complete demonstration on these Faraday bags. One of these bags, you can fit a desktop computer in, a microwave, anything to your heart's desired, anything you plan on using when things go sideways, which they most certainly are going to. You'll be safe, and at least it'll make this incredibly horrible situation easier to deal with. So here we go. And I'll leave a link to OFFGRIDTREK down below, as well as the Freedom 20 discount code, which gets you 20% off. And he ships so fast, it's ridiculous. So there you are. There you have it. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to show you the website. I'll leave links to it below. But Renee lives in Canada. He is an ex-military dude with communications, etc., under his belt. And he went and had these solar panels built to his specifications. He carries all the best solar generators. I happen to have one of those top units up there right now. And he's been in magazines, all the biggest YouTube channels like my buddy Mike from Last Line of Defense. Everyone's reviewed his gear, and it is second to none. Now, it's expensive, but here's the deal. Unlike the other solar panels I've used over the years, these don't degrade over the years. You leave these things laying in the sun kills things, period. So solar panels usually only last 2-3 years. My OFFGRIDTREK panel has performed exactly as well as it did the first time as it did the last time. They cost money because it costs money to make them. These are paramount. These are second to none. These are the best you can get as a civilian, period. And I want you to hear the credentials this guy has. And I want you to see the Faraday bag that he's has constructed. These things are amazing, and they work. And he's tested them ad nauseum to make sure that they work, unlike other companies. I can say that as a fact. What made you do this? What made you say, I have to make a better solar blanket than everybody else?
Long story short, I'm ex-military myself, ex-telecommunications. Okay. When I got out, I actually contracted to a satellite-based company out of Canada, and we were actually supplying SATCOMs to militaries worldwide, NGOs, three-letter entities in the U.S., and I always remember years ago seeing a picture. It was I don't think the company's around anymore, but it was kind of like a solar blanket, but there's a picture of a Marine on a sat phone on a donkey with this draped over, and I always thought I can do that better. That's basically where it came
I
from.
know exactly who you're talking about, and those are incredibly expensive. You can still get them.
Yeah.
They're still on eBay used, and they're incredibly expensive. Thing is, this is a brand I've never seen solar cells like this before. Did you design these yourself?
These are my design. I went through several manufacturers till I found one that could do exactly what I was wanting. These are basically the newest solar cells that you can get. They're the SunPower Gen 3 solar cells, and the biggest thing about our product is they're 23.8% efficiency rating, and that's the most important number to know, and most manufacturers won't tell you that, because most of the product that is on the market is on average 12 to 15%, because that's the best profit margin. That's where they make the most money.
Right.
Yeah.
I looked at you chose to use Anderson connectors. You chose to use solar charge controllers instead of the little crappy one that comes with all of them that kind of gives you a little bit of power. And just on a small side note, this foldable panel is closed, and Renee just pointed out that it's actually still making power. It's not even open.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Like, I just put really, really high-end solar panels on the top of my AluCap. These are the ones that you stick them up there, they stay there for 5 years, then you rip them down. And they work well, but I had never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
How did you get these from what you were thinking about into actually making them into production?
It was about a year process, went through several manufacturers, like even the solar charge controllers. I tested over 30 of them. I know it's over 30, that's just the number I remember.
So, long story short, he's gone through exhaustive testing, research, and development, and it worked. And I can attest to that, and everyone that owns OFFGRIDTREK can attest to that. So, I'm going to leave you links to his YouTube channel as well as his Instagram, because he's up in Canada, and as Americans, it's always good to have a contact in other countries just to see what's going on. But let's listen to him in his own words explain this Faraday bag that he's developed, because it's amazing.
Rennie here with OFFGRIDTREK. With these interesting times, I know I've had a lot of people asking about our Faraday bags, so I just kind of wanted to go over those. This is what they are when they're not being used. You can see how small and lightweight it is. This will actually hold 126 liters. I believe that's about 30 gallons. I might be off on that a little bit, but it gives you an idea. This is it when it's actually... This is an example. What I'm going to show you is everything that I normally have in it for myself, and it'll kind of give you an idea based on what could work for you and might not work for you. First and foremost, internally what we use is 3 layers of the shielding for EMP, so that basically it offers complete protection for all of your electronics inside. And for those of you that don't know, EMP is basically, it's an electromagnetic pulse. And what that's caused by, it could be something as simple as a solar flare, or it could be because of nuclear. So this will protect any of your devices inside if there is an EMP. So what we use is, on the outside is a military grade fabric, which gives it a lot of durability. And then we do use some very heavy duty Velcro as well too. What that does is it allows for no airflow whatsoever. If you have airflow going in and out, that means signal is going to go in and out, and there is a chance that you're going to damage the electronics inside. So as an example, right on the front, we have 2 layers. So 2 layers right here. On the outside, on the sides, we also have another layer right here. To me, it was just smart to do that. It's a little more effort to open and close it, but it gives you peace of mind that everything is going to be kept safe in there. So go ahead, take a look inside. This gives you an example of everything, and I'll pull it all out, and I'll give you some ideas, just basically what we use ourselves. So first and foremost, it's always good to have a multimeter. So I always have a multimeter in there. And by the way, everything I'm going to be pulling out will charge from our solar blankets as well too, because if there is an EMP strike, if there is something along that lines, unfortunately gas stations, unless you're able to siphon manually, you're not going to be able to get gas to run your generator. You're going to have to rely on electronics to be powered from solar. So here's 2 of the headlamps that we use that power from solar. 2 of our flashlights that we use. That one actually turned itself on.
So you get the idea. These bags hold an incredible amount of equipment, and that actually has been tested ad nauseum to make sure that these do exactly as they're designed to do. Renee has gone through more research and development, more money out of his pocket than anybody else that I've met that's designed a product that's already existing. It is a better product. OFFGRIDTREK makes the best solar panels and gear you can possibly get, period. And I have no monetary affiliation with him or anyone else. That's how I can give you honest reviews, period. So here we go again. Another year, and our destiny is in someone else's hands, they tell us. It's just like being back in the 60s.
Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know this. No matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
So I'm not really worried about a nuclear weapon going off at all. But what I am concerned about is an EMP. I've watched the Department of Homeland Security's website for years, and every single year, multiple times, they warn about a possible EMP strike against the United States and how vulnerable our power grid and our entire way of life is, basically. And yet they never fix it. So an EMP is a real problem. And now, with Russia and the Ukraine, it's all we've been hearing from the mainstream is Putin is going to take down our power grid. Putin's going to take down the internet if Putin and Biden don't get along. Leaving everything in Joe Biden's hands isn't very comforting for most people at all. And I'll tell you what, they don't need to set off a nuclear weapon or an atomic bomb to do an EMP strike. I did a video about this years ago. Back in 2015, where Boeing unveiled this Tomahawk cruise missile, basically, that could literally do pinpoint EMP attacks on just a building using whatever technology. So if in 2015 we had this technology, or Boeing had it, well then all the quote-unquote evil access will have it as well. So with all that good news in mind, what can you do if and when the lights go out? You know what I'm saying? Everything we use runs on the internet, electronics, etc., etc. Well, fortunately, there's a lot of things you can actually do, starting with one of these guys right here. This is a Faraday bag. This is a bag that is an RF shielded bag that will protect your electronics. And this particular bag was sent to me by Renee at OFFGRIDTREK. He actually sent me 2 of these quite a while ago, and I was supposed to review them, but I never got around to it, sadly. So now I am. I gave one of these bags to a couple out in Arizona, and hopefully they're using it as it's intended, and it's not just sitting on a shelf in their garage in front of their red Tesla, hopefully, but it probably is. These bags are very large, incredibly well made, and the Velcro on them is ridiculous. It took me forever to get this thing open for the first time ever. But once I did get it open, these bags are massive. This is a very, very large bag. You definitely get what you pay for. So, for an example, I wanted to show you what you can fit in this, for instance. And I started with a Mystery Ranch 3-day assault pack. This is one of my bug out bags. It's always in my truck. It's always ready to go. It's a good sized bag. It's a 3-day assault pack. So it's made for a soldier carrying 3 days worth of supplies in the field, etc. When I took this bag, the Faraday bag swallowed it up like nothing. I mean, this bag is large. And consequently, I'm going to be giving this bag that you're looking at right now away to one of you guys. And we'll figure out the rules at the end. I think just like, comment, and share. Prove that you shared the video and you're in. How's that? So this particular bag, you could easily fit a desktop computer, all of your electronics, etc., etc. inside it.
Hey guys, Rennie here with OFFGRIDTREK. I've had quite a few customers that have emailed, called in the last, say, 1 to 2 weeks, asking specifically about items, larger items like the Delta Pro, EcoFlow Delta Pro, Delta Maxes, some other large items. Basically wanted to know how they can fit into our Faraday bags. Are our Faraday bags big enough? So that's what I've done is I've got one of my personal Delta Pros here, 2 Delta Maxes, a couple of Faraday bags, and I'm just going to show you how they fit in, give you a quick description. Just going to be a short video, under 5 minutes, and or approximately 5 minutes, and then go over all of that with you. So
that's how big these bags are. He was able to fit all that gear into one of these Faraday bags. And again, this is one of the bags that I'm going to be giving away to one of you guys. So there, as they say, is that. But these bags aren't free. They're very well made, they're purpose built, and they're about, I think, around $300 at any rate. If you want to pick one of these bags up for yourself, you can get them at OFFGRIDTREK. Renee builds these Faraday bags large enough so that you can actually fit your entire solar setup in there so that it does not get hit by an EMP, because an EMP will take out a solar panel as well. Many people don't know that. Well, you do now. But there's also other alternatives. And bear in mind, I have zero affiliation with any of these people. I am going to leave you a list on Amazon where I've linked up a bunch of things that you can get that will protect you, just to make your life a little easier. And I think maybe I make a couple of cents on every purchase. I don't know, because I never pushed this link. But the stuff that they have to protect you is very, very varied. They've got things to protect electronics, and they've also got things to protect your personal body from RF frequencies, etc. Hoodies, jackets, tinfoil hats, etc. It's funny, but it's where we live right now. Before I made this video, I hooked up with Renee and a couple of other people that I know that are actually experts in this business. You're looking at Renee from OFFGRIDTREK right now. And I said, dude, all this stuff is great, but how do you prove that it actually works? And he said there's a company called Mission Darkness that does all the extensive testing to make sure that this stuff actually delivers as promised. Meaning, if you put your electronics in there and there's an EMP, which is something you can't hear, see, or smell, you'll know that it protected you. Because otherwise, it's just lights go out. You know what I mean? And Mission Darkness turned out to be a really good resource, and I'm glad Renee pointed me in that direction. For instance, they have a website, and they do military specification RF shielding, which means EMP proof, for so many different law enforcement, military, and civilian applications. It's incredible. But they don't only just make stuff and sell it to you, they show you how to make stuff. They have their own YouTube channel, which I found, and they show you how to make things like a Faraday box. And I mean, they go into pretty good detail with it. And it's fairly inexpensive to make one of these boxes. One of the main components that you do need is RF shielding fabric, which is the only thing that's actually kind of expensive, so to speak. But think about all the money you've got into your electronics. Because if I start thinking about the money I have in my electronics, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you're going to want to protect them, because in this day and age, most people don't know how to read a paper map. Most people don't know how to keep notes. Most people don't carry a pen and paper. Their emergency kit is a credit card and a cell phone. And they laugh at us. They make jokes. We're preppers. We're survivalists. We're doomsayers. We're the, conspiracy theorists, etc. Well, I'll tell you what. It seems like over the last 2 years, all the conspiracy theories have come home to roost, and they're just mainstream news. And being attacked by an EMP is one of them. In this video right here, he's showing you how to test out the EMP proofing of your box simply by turning on a transistor radio, placing it in the box, and if you completely lose signal, mission accomplished. Do you see what I'm saying? And there's also videos on how to make an EMP blocker or how to make an EMP device yourself, which I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it is what it is. There is a lot of information on the internet that can show you how to protect yourself. The only problem is you need to take the time to actually research it and follow through with it, because it will be over in the blink of an eye. These guys are not kidding. They will not stop talking about this on the news, the mainstream media, etc. I would take that as a harbinger. The video you're looking at right now is a channel I found a couple of years ago called the Prepared Airman. He's a military member, and he shows you how to make your bug-out bag EMP proof. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I did all the legwork finding all these links. You're going to have to do all the legwork, click on the links, and then follow through whatever applies to you. For instance, Mission Darkness has pretty much everything you would need to cover yourself personally. Things that you carry on you, things that you work with day to day, duffel bags, all types of things of that nature, data security. They've got backpacks, duffels, small personal packs, tons of molly packs, things that'll cover everything that you would carry on you if you were on the move. But if you're in your house where you want to protect a room or your vehicle or something, you have to go another route, and that route is this way. So follow me. This is one of my favorite blogs right here because it explains everything. It explains what a Faraday cage is, what it does, what it protects from, and what it can protect if you correctly build one. And absolutely everything you need to know is on this particular blog, and I'll leave links below. That's the whole point of this video. I'm leaving you links to bring you where you need to be, because I can't stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. We've talked about this for years on my other channels, and it has now come home to roost. This is now mainstream. When you're hearing presidents of opposing countries using these words, take down the grid, take down the internet, take out the banks, etc., it's time to sit up and take notice. This might be an exercise in futility. You might be prepared for no reason. But being prepared for no reason, you're prepared. If you're not prepared, you're a victim. And when the lights go out and nothing works, gas pumps, toasters, microwaves, televisions, radios, America's not ready for that. Not at all. Well, some of America's ready, but think of all the insults and joking that's gone on about the Amish people. I'll tell you what, when everything happens, they won't have to make very much adjustment. Now, you can't make an EMP proofing video without showing the EMP shield. These guys approached me maybe 8 years ago on YouTube, and I kind of passed on it because they were new, I didn't know very much about it, etc. But I'll tell you what, everybody and his brother has been pawning these things on YouTube, and they work. I've seen some of them taken out by lightning, totally blown apart, etc. But here's the deal, and this is just my personal opinion. These have all been military tested. They've got all the awards, etc. They've done the mil-spec testing. But these have been tested against EMP technology that we're aware of. There's a lot of things that we wouldn't be aware of whatsoever at all. And if Russia was to ever make a move on the United States, that is World War III, we will see technology we've never even dreamed of. So EMP shield and devices like it, they're definitely a cheap insurance policy. Definitely. But they're not the only player in the game. There's a lot of different Faraday devices, EMP proofing devices that are available out there. And again, links will be in the description box below the video. That's the whole point of this video. This is a resource for you to use. And if this is a concern of yours, use this resource. This information does no good if you don't act upon it. Do you see what I'm saying? These buildings and these pre-built Faraday cages are great, but I would much rather see you go to one of the survival blogs and learn how to make one of these things yourself, because first of all, if you build your own protection, you'll understand what you're protecting against. Do you see what I'm saying? As opposed to just taking a $350 device, plugging it in and saying, I'm good to go. EMP proofing your car, it's next to impossible, and here's the other side of that coin. Trying to EMP proof your car is useless when you can't get gas. All of our gas stations are completely electronic. They don't have any more hand pumps, not that I know of. And you're talking to a guy that drove an 80 series Toyota that got 8 miles to the gallon, over 100,000 miles across the United States and back in the last 6-7 years. So I've seen all the gas stations. I'd much rather see you learn how to do this on your own with the materials that are available and the information that's available. And again, all the links will be below. Links to blogs like this right here are terrific because, again, it explains everything about it. It explains what you're facing and what you can do. It's sad that we live in a time where we even have to think about things like this, but I'll tell you what, it is what it is. Waiting for someone else to come save you is not the way to go. Not at all, and especially if you have a family. There's way too many alternatives out there to at least make the unthinkable bearable. If the unthinkable happens and you're not prepared whatsoever at all, you're simply a victim, and we've seen what happens to victims in the United States. If the entire grid were to go down, nobody's coming for you. And if they are coming for you, they're not the people you want coming for you. Do you see what I'm saying? At any rate, if you want to win that Faraday bag that I showed at the beginning of this video, simply share, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below saying I'm in. That's all I got for right now. Links will be below. Richie from Jailbreak, and I am out.